Everyone has a travel bucket list, don't we? Well, I for sure have a travel bucket list, which I swear cannot be completed in this lifetime. But the recent Greta Thunberg fiasco on global warming got me thinking, what if there are no beautiful places left on Earth anymore because of this brat called global warming? Of course, we are the ones who are not taking active action to battle it, but that whole concept makes it in for another video. So for now, let us concentrate on the fact that there is only limited time left until the beautiful places on Earth sink in or dry up.
The Great Wall of China. Parts of this Great Wall that stretches from Shanhaiguan on the east coast to Jiayuguan on the edge of the Gobi Desert on the west were built as early as the 7th century BC. The most well-known sections were built by the Ming Dynasty between 1368 and 1644, including the much-visited sections north of Beijing. Unsurprisingly, given its age, the wall is now quite dilapidated in places, and what was once believed to be a 21,000-kilometer structure is now closer to 9,000 kilometers if the missing sections are not included. The main contributor to this erosion, however, is not natural, but man-made. Being one of China's greatest tourist attractions, many have been known to break pieces off it to keep as a souvenir. Others have been known to steal sections of brick to build houses or sell on. Now that's over the top. As well as a willful act of vandalism, it is causing tremendous damage, with the 2,000-year-old structure now 30% destroyed. Sadly, if this behavior continues, the Great Wall of China that stretches for thousands of miles will be gone for good very soon. It is recognized as one of the most impressive architectural feats in history, but how long it'll stay that way is anyone's guess.
The Great Pyramids of Giza. Who doesn't know the Great Pyramids of Giza? I mean, there have been so many conspiracy theories around it that you yourself have become interested in the entire concept of conspiracy theories. But these mysterious pyramids are quickly becoming a victim of erosion and human intervention. I think we all should hurry up and see this historical wonder before it becomes shambles, right? That's all we have for today's video, guys. And are you including these places in your travel bucket list? Let us know in the comments below if this video has ignited a new wanderlust in you. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoy the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch up my next video.
The Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal was commissioned by the Mughal Empire Shah Jahan in 1632 to house the tomb of his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal. He is also buried there. An ivory-white marble mausoleum, it sits on the south bank of the Yamuna River in the Indian city of Agra. The tomb itself is the centerpiece of a magnificent 42-acre complex that includes a mosque and a guest house. Today, the Taj Mahal is described as the jewel of Muslim art in India, attracting up to 8 million visitors every year. Although its architecture and rich history are greatly admired, air pollution and wear and tear are turning it yellow. The discoloration of its predominantly marble structure is due to oxidization, but the monument has also begun to degenerate, leading it to chip and crack. Experts say that pollution too has hastened the process. A garbage-strewn river flanks the monument, and dust and smog belch from the smokestacks surrounding it and the vehicles driving by. With the government keen to preserve the incredible structure, strict regulations regarding pollution have been put in place in Agra. These regulations and the occasional mud pack treatment are aimed at curbing the process of yellowing. Let's hope it's enough.
Great Barrier Reef, the Coral Sea, Australia. The Great Barrier Reef is a wonderful and mesmerizing place, and it is so huge that it is actually equal to the size of Japan. It is home to more than 2,900 individual reefs and 900 islands, where it stretches for 2,300 kilometers alongside Australia's northeast coast. This natural wonder has a rich ecosystem with 400 types of corals, where it is also home to 10% of the world's fish species. Are you amazed yet? Because I am for sure. But I want to take off that amazement right now and give you some real tea on it. The Australian government report this year opined that the reef's future has downgraded from poor to very poor. This majestic place is at its critical tipping point because of coral bleaching, which is the result of global warming. Experts have shared their opinion that it is high time that action should be taken, or else this breathtaking place could be in shambles by 2050. This makes it all the more reason why you should definitely visit this place for sure.
Havana. Known as the Key to the New World, the island that once served as a crossroads for explorers, buccaneers, colonial powers, indigenous people, entertainers, and exiles, is at risk of disappearing. Founded by Spain in the 16th century, Havana soon became a popular stopping point for treasure-laden Spanish galleons returning to Spain. It attracts over 1 million tourists each year, but if you're planning to be one of them, you better make it quick. From the outside looking in, Havana has barely changed since the 1950s. But Miami's success is threatening residents' traditional lifestyles, and there is an increasing appetite for property close to the downtown core. The growing value of land, demolition of historic buildings, and the displacement of poorer residents are endangering the area's cultural richness. Experts who have been studying the shifting neighborhood warn Havana residents and stakeholders that if changes aren't made soon, the city they once knew will be no longer. They've been told there needs to be a better balance between development and residents' needs. Plans unveiled last year promise economic vitality and affordable housing, reinvestment on infrastructure, and methods to strengthen the city's character, protecting its history. But is it too little too late for this popular tourist mecca? We hope not.
Komodo Island, Indonesia. As the name goes, Komodo Island is famous for Komodo dragons, who max out 10 feet long and scale up to 200 pounds, where they are the largest lizards on Earth. But did you know they can actually take down a water buffalo or a deer with their venomous bite and a speed of 12 miles per hour? Yeah, me neither. But this reputation didn't ward the poachers away, where it has resulted in a major smuggling case. So much so that after major speculations of it closing down, the Indonesian officials have announced that the island will remain open, but there will be major restrictions placed with regards to its ticketing system. This might imply that the visitors will have to pay a hefty fee to visit it. But this makes it all worth the visit, because who can miss seeing those ugly bad boys in action, right?
Ancient Petra. Petra is a historical and archaeological city in southern Jordan. It lies around Jabal al-Madba in a basin surrounded by mountains and is home to some of the world's most famous and intriguing rock-cut architecture. Access to the city is through a 1.2-kilometer gorge called the Sick, also known as the Rose City because of the color of the stone from which it is carved. Petra has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1985, when they described it as one of the most precious cultural properties of man's cultural heritage. But the colorful sandstone walls that have made this ancient city famous have deteriorated at an alarming rate, with tourists, the climate, sunlight, and its composition all to blame. Research found that when 35 people occupied the interior of Al-Kazna, one of the most elaborate temples in Petra, for more than 5 minutes, the humidity levels rose enough to cause severe deterioration of the tomb's internal structure. Because of this, the decision was made to close its interior to tourists in the summer of 2001. A shame for those who haven't seen it yet, but the alternative was much worse, don't you think? Bordeaux. Bordeaux is the hub of the famed wine-growing region of southern France. Steeped in long-standing excellence and traditional farming techniques, the iconic Bordeaux red blends have been around for over 80 years. But they may have met their match in climate change, which looks to be derailing winemakers in the region. The issue is a temperate one, literally. 2/3 of the red vines planted in Bordeaux are Merlot, and for centuries, these vines have relied on the local climate to reach peak ripeness. Today, the same vines are being scrutinized as potential future victims of rising temperatures. These unusually high temperatures may lead many of Bordeaux's vintners to source more climate-hardy grapes. But will the wines still be both fine and French? Bordeaux certainly hopes so, as they pull out all the stops to keep their brand on the shelves, taking action to adapt to the growing impacts of climate change. Winemakers have approved new grape varieties of interest as part of their plans, including some nearly forgotten that will make a comeback. Late ripening experimental grapes may also be added to the mix. These are less likely to rot in the hotter weather. Climate change represents multiple challenges for the agricultural industry, and when a premier wine-growing region begins to reassess ingrained traditional practices, people pay attention, particularly the wine lovers among us.
Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. Imagine that you are standing on nothing but salt, and there is just sky above, because people say that sometimes this combination can play tricks on your mind. And this is exactly what Salar de Uyuni is. Located in Bolivia, this salt desert is so majestic that Neil Armstrong mistook it for a giant glacier when he was looking at it from space. It is an abode of pure simplicity and godliness. So much so that when it rains, the entire area turns into one giant mirror, if you can believe. Unfortunately, what I'm about to tell you is going to completely break your heart, because global warming is not to be blamed for this beautiful place to disappear, but our smartphones are. This world's largest salt flat is said to be sitting on half of the world's lithium reserve. Lithium is majorly used in the batteries of our smartphones, and since the demand for lithium batteries has expanded, there is a major chance that we might end up using it all, and eventually we will not get to see this mesmerizing place in the near future. Well, if you ask me, I am ready to give up my smartphone for this place. Venice, Italy. Renaissance vibe, Gothic palaces, gondolas, and breathtaking waterways. Yep, I am talking about none other than Venice, Italy. Guess what? This marvelous place is literally drowning. No, I am not kidding. The water level actually rises to 1 millimeter every year, which, if calculated, means that by 2100, the entire city will become Atlantis. This is because Venice suffers from subsidence. The city is built on a muddy lagoon with an unstable foundation, where the ground underneath it has compacted over time. Since the groundwater is being pumped out from under the city, and because there is a rise in the sea levels, the city is on a ride for slow sinking. Even though the city will not sink for many years, it definitely makes it worth your visit. Because time flies, and you never know. Within a blink, we might just be a year away from seeing the city sink. The Maldives. If you are literally screaming if I just said the Maldives, then yes, I say it again, the Maldives. I know you are crying because I am crying too. This honeymoon destination, which consists of 1,190 islands, is now in danger and might go underwater like the Titanic very soon. Although an iceberg is not the reason, but the notorious global warming is. Since the islands are located at sea level, it will be lost to the ocean by the end of the 21st century because of the constant rising of sea levels. All we can do is to be responsible and not let global warming take over. Because guys, I'm talking about Maldives, the one which you see on Instagram with all the fancy sea pictures. I want to go there. The door to hell, Turkmenistan. I want to ask you one thing. What are your nightmares made of? Does it involve a boogeyman scaring you under the bed during the middle of the night? Or does it involve you being pushed by a textbook psychopath into a massive burning hole? Because this is literally what the door to hell is. Located in Turkmenistan, this inferno has been set alight since 1971 and has been a raging nightmare for 40 freaking years. Can you believe it? Well, one thing for sure is that it did not scare the tourists off and has been inviting them ever since. The inferno is not something which has been lit up magically, but it is actually lit up with methane, which is the reason why that it is just about time until the gas burns out. Although this is not something which is actively affected by global warming, it is definitely a possibility that one day this burning inferno might turn into a deep, dark hole. This makes it all the more reason why this site is worth making a trip for. The Dead Sea, Israel, Jordan, and Palestine. Here is the actual tea, guys. The Dead Sea is literally dying. Okay, I know that was a very lame joke, but it's an actual fact that the Dead Sea is drying up. Located at the lowest point on Earth, the Dead Sea is a famous destination because of its high salt content, which is 10 times more than the ocean. This makes it easier for the swimmers to stay afloat and have the time of their lives. But as the sea levels are dropping, the saltiness and the density of the sea is rising, where it will reach up to a point where the rate of evaporation will maintain equilibrium. So the sea will actually get smaller, but will not disappear entirely. Phew! And the changes in the water level are also because of the mining operations which have been going on in the area for decades, which is accounting for further damages. I think it's high time we should bring the sea back from the dead, or we should visit it before it actually becomes dead. Okay, I'll stop with my lame jokes now. Glaciers of the European Alps, Switzerland. Switzerland is a place of amazing natural beauty because of its placid lakes, majestic Alps, and towering castles that can take people into a fantasy land. Among the many natural wonders in Switzerland, there is this astounding glacier of the European Alps, which is covered in breathtaking snow. But unfortunately, because of the human-caused global warming, this beautiful place could disappear by 2100. A climate scientist at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich told the reporters that, in a bad case, everything will be almost gone. Well, Great Thunberg, I am with you, and I really think we should take up a strong stance against global warming. Who's with me? And also, this place is definitely going on the top of my travel bucket list, because have you seen the pictures? They are so freaking beautiful that you simply cannot miss it.